Alright, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from RicoScores, looking like I just lit up an incense, and I just want to talk about how it looks like the NFL may be getting over the coronavirus obstacle. There's all kind of news coming out discussing how the NFL will more than likely happen, and one big sign that it will happen this season, no matter the capacity, whether it's less fans, no fans, or all fans, the NFL has announced that rookie minicamp will be coming. So I want to talk about exactly the dates, the soonest it can happen, the latest it can happen, which players on the Redskins really need it, and I just want to talk in general about how coronavirus is affecting the NFL and if we may end up actually getting football in 2020 or not. So let's get it. So as many of y'all may already know, certain staff members are already allowed at team facilities and also rehabbing players. So if a player's hurt and they're coming back from injury, they're also allowed at the facilities. But it's kind of like a per state basis, even though the NFL said it's okay for rehabbing players and certain staffers to return to facilities. Certain states may be against it. I know Virginia, which is where the Redskins practice, they're okay with it. So rehabbing players and certain staff members and facility workers have been allowed to return to team facilities and resume work, which is good to hear because players like Darius Geis, Bryce Love, Reuben Foster, we need them back as soon as possible. We need them 100% as soon as possible. And then also state governments are aiming for NFL franchises to resume all offseason activities soon. Like head coaches may be able to return to facilities as soon as next week. But then again, for Ron Rivera, it's not really return, it's really start. Which is kind of crazy because teams like us, the Cowboys, the Giants, and the Browns, who have new head coaches this season, normally you start a month earlier than other teams, but with the whole coronavirus chaos and COVID-19 quarantine and how it's affected the NFL and every major sport, at this point, we just want people to come back in general. And those rookie head coach teams, even though, Ron Rivera technically isn't a rookie head coach, but he's a new head coach for a different team. So all of us lose our 1 month advantage that teams normally have going into the offseason. But it's cool though, we still gonna be alright, you feel me? And then the biggest news is that everybody's pushing for full squad mini camps in mid to late June. And that's crazy because I thought we were still at risk of not having an offseason at all, like even training camp. But with there very possibly being even rookie mini camp and then mini camp, there's no reason we shouldn't have a training camp. And then if there's training camp, I'm not exactly sure why we wouldn't be able to have preseason. It's steps. They're not on the same levels. But going from I thought we weren't going to have anything to having some is a huge difference. It's harder to go from none to some than some to all, especially when it comes to things like this. Everything is moving way faster than I thought it would, me personally. I thought we were risking not having a season. Now it looks like we may even have rookie mini camps, which is like one of the first off-season workouts. It seems like we may not even really miss a step NFL-wise. I know the NBA season, MLB, and NHL and all of those have just been obliterated and affected up and down everywhere. But the NFL, with them having their draft virtually, they're almost going to be unaffected by this. You will occasionally get a positive corona test, and then they'll have to quarantine that player accordingly and test everybody he's been around and all that type of stuff, but they just have to learn how to not panic and follow certain procedures and rules so that they can isolate the person and get them back to health as soon as possible. Because so far, every NFL player that's gotten it, between Von Miller, that guy on the Rams, and a Redskins personal, Antonio Gandy Golden, 4th round draft pick, wide receiver out of Liberty, all of them have fully recovered. They were all asymptomatic. And for those of y'all who don't know, that's basically when you have it, you're a carrier, you can spread it, but you're not really experiencing any serious symptoms. Definitely nothing life-threatening. So you're just experiencing very mild symptoms or just none at all. So it seems like pro athletes at tip-top physique and shape stand well against the coronavirus. And so far we're 3 for 3 on full recoveries. But back to the mini camps. It's been said that if coaches resume their in-house work next week, mini camps, including players, could be scheduled as early as June 15th or as late as June 27th. And what I noticed the most is that the fact that there was a deadline, like as late as June 27th. So that means that it's definitely happening. It's just a matter of when at this point, which is crazy. Because like I said, I didn't think we were going to have an offseason. I mean, I've been quarantining so hard, I haven't left my neighborhood. The only time I leave the house is to take my dog on a walk. So the outside world is a mystery to me. So the NFL is ready to move forward and get everything going. But like I said earlier, as I previously stated, it's on a per state basis. And it's going to be hard to allow certain teams to practice because their states allowed it and not other teams. The states that allow their teams to fully practice are at a major competitive advantage, team-wise. Also financially for the state. It's a balance of how much they care about people and how much money they want to make on whether or not a state allows practices sooner rather than later. I know a lot of us want football back as soon as possible in any capacity, but at the end of the day, health and safety matters most. But we'll see. Like I said, the Redskins have nothing to worry about as far as restrictions go because the Virginia has already allowed them to start practicing. But that's crazy though, because resuming full operations in any capacity, whether it be head coaches, staffers, trainers, players, is a huge step forward. I mean, starting mini camps, like I said, is something that I just didn't expect to happen. And the fact that there's a deadline on it and not necessarily an if, it's more of a when, is crazy news right now. I mean, this is like breaking news. And a lot of sources are basically saying everybody's looking at California because California has not been playing about this whole COVID-19 quarantine and shutting the state down and everything. They have been the most serious about containing the situation and getting it rectified as soon as possible. And it's basically like if California says they're ready to go, then everybody's ready to go. And if California gives the green light, full football operations and mini camps can start as early as mid-June. But if mini camps were to start as late as June 27th, that's a whole 2 weeks behind schedule of a normal NFL season. So the NFL has been affected slightly, but it's nowhere near as major as the other sports. And us as football fans have to be very thankful for that. But again, at the end of the day, it's all about health and safety first. So in my opinion, only resume all of these activities and get the season started if y'all have all of the proper processes and rules and regulations and tests and a great infrastructure to handle this problem and tackle it any way that it needs to be handled. And of course, even if/when mini camps return, everything is going to be a little bit different. So even if the NFL is technically slightly on schedule, things are just going to be a little bit different. And also, and for those of y'all who really want football back, Miami Dolphins owner Stephen Ross went on to say that an NFL season in 2020 will definitely happen. But he also went on to question whether or not fans will be there. Now that's the really interesting thing, but for us to reach this milestone of mini camps more than likely about to start up, then I believe anything is possible at this point, because I didn't think we would get this far, especially this soon. We're behind schedule in comparison to other NFL seasons, but as far as what I projected, we're way ahead of schedule. I mean, I thought we were almost going to get nothing, so anything is ahead of schedule technically. But with mini camps returning a little later, that's big news for a lot of rookies and a lot of previously injured guys. Like Redskins wise specifically, mini camps returning as soon as possible and allowing players to practice again in full capacity with coaches and other players as soon as possible is big for, first of all, players returning from injury. Like if Reuben Foster is somehow healthy, allowing him to learn Jack Del Rio's defense is huge. Bryce Love, the running back from Stanford with all of the potential in the world, ran for 2,000 yards in a season, and then he tore his ACL the last possible game he could play for Stanford going into the 2019 draft, and he hasn't returned to football yet. So if he's fully healthy and ready to go, mini camps returning was huge for him, so he can go ahead and learn Scott Turner's offense and show him that he is available and that he's a great offensive asset, especially since he's going to be competing with Darius Geis and Antonio Gibson and Adrian Peterson for as many snaps as possible. And then Darius Geis, He looks fully healthy. He's been working out with Dwayne Haskins and pretty much any Redskins unofficial practice that like players have just come together and had together. He's been there, so he looks fully healthy, but again, he still needs to go out there and prove to Ron Rivera and Scott Turner that he is ready to go, fully healthy, and can learn this offense. And of course, Dwayne Haskins needs as much time as possible with him learning a new offense under Scott Turner, who I hope to be our franchise quarterback of the future. I see a lot of potential in him. He needs as many reps, as many snaps, as many practices, as much time, as many plays, as many routes ran from his receivers, as many throws he can throw, all that he can get before this season comes up. Because he's going to be thrown out there week 1, and compared to what he received last year as far as nurturing and coaching and attention and an offense built around his skill set, anything he gets this year will be way better than what he got than last season. But still, he's technically still a rookie in a way, and he'll need all of the time, reps, and coaching that he can get before this season starts. He may even play a little bit more in preseason than most starting quarterbacks normally do in a preseason. And then speaking of rookies, guys like Chase Young won't really need minicamp as much as the other guys. I mean, every rookie's going to need minicamp and training camp to catch up to NFL speed, even Chase Young. But the guys that we really need it for, especially, are Sadiq Charles, potentially our starting left tackle of the future. In my opinion, he had top 5 offensive tackle talent in this draft. I mean, it was the first 4 guys that went in the first round, with Mekhi Becton, Andrew Thomas, Jedrick Wills, and Tristan Wirfs. After that, in my opinion, the most talented guy available was Sadiq Charles. And he only made it to the 4th round because of how much he's not ready to start day 1. First of all, and also off the field concerns, even though they're not anything major, and I'm not worried about them at all. But the other 7 offensive linemen drafted in between the first 4 guys and Sadiq Charles, I definitely feel like Sadiq Charles is better than all of them and will be better. But the problem is he's not a ready day 1 type of guy. He needs to clean up a lot of hand technique. He needs to gain more muscle and strength, and getting into NFL facilities as soon as possible is going to be major for him. I mean, it's going to be a huge difference in whether or not he'll start week 1. With coronavirus not even being a thing at all, I was still worried about him starting week 1. But now with everything being delayed a couple of weeks or more, as far as practices go, I'm even more worried about Sadiq Charles' chances of starting week 1, or just as soon as possible. I definitely feel like the Redskins should go and get a bridge tackle like a Jason Peters, or maybe even bring back Donald Penn in the meantime. But the NFL starting their practices in full capacity as soon as possible is going to be major for Sadiq Charles, major in his development and his muscle and strength gaining, all of that. And then you also have receivers like Antonio Gandy-Golden and undrafted free agent Isaiah Wright, and even undrafted free agent tight end Thaddeus Moss, who the sooner they can get into an NFL practice and facilities, the quicker they'll be able to refine their route running and their chemistry with Dwayne Haskins and all of that type of stuff. I mean, that's huge. I know that Kelvin Harmon and Terry McLaurin have been working with Dwayne Haskins already throughout this entire spring and summer already, and Antonio Gandy-Golden and Steven Sims will join in soon. But just throwing passes to each other in an open field isn't the same as having coaches with you to coach you up and to run specific drills and to manage the workouts and the practices. So the sooner we can get these wide receivers and tight ends into these practices is going to be major for the Redskins, especially for our passing game attack that's been very stale the past couple of years, especially last year. I think we were ranked dead last, even though it was more so inconsistency from the quarterbacks than the wide receivers. But still, we have a lot of young guys coming in, and they need as much practice and reps and route running and chemistry with Dwayne Haskins as they can get. And then of course you also have running back Antonio Gibson, all of the athleticism in the world. I mean, potentially the most explosive and probably just even the best skill position player taken in this past draft class. The only problem is, and the only reason he made it to the 3rd round to us, is that he's quite raw. I mean, he just doesn't have a lot of tape out there. At running back, he barely played. He was behind several guys on the depth chart, and then he mostly played receiver, and even then he's pretty raw. He needs to improve his route running mightily, and he has a lot of great traits for running back, which is what he's mostly going to be. they've already said he's going to be more of a Christian McCaffrey role and less of a slot receiver, but he also will be very versatile, used in the return game, on special teams, used as a slot receiver, may even go out wide occasionally, but he's mostly going to be a running back. And running back wise, you see on his tape that he has a lot of potential. I mean, even for some reason, he has great running back vision in the small sample size we have from him. But again, he's still very raw. He has a lot of potential, but the sooner we can get him into some practices and get under some NFL coaching, the sooner we can have a deadly Swiss Army knife on our hands. And then those late round defensive guys like Khaleke Hudson and Cameron Curl, getting them into practices as soon as possible to learn the defense and learn their exact role that they're going to play is going to be huge for them, because Cameron Curl is like a safety cornerback hybrid, and learning exactly where he's going to be and best utilized is going to be big for him. Same for Khaleke Hudson. He's a linebacker safety hybrid that also played a lot of corner in college. And identifying where he's best suited at the NFL level, whether it be just one position or maybe several, will be largely beneficial for his NFL game and progress. So I'm excited. Hopefully, we're not rushing things and possibly having setbacks from trying to start things too early. Hopefully, we're really about to be back into the full swings of everything football-wise. Practices, players and coaches being around each other. Of course, everything is going to be different with the testing and the quarantine, and if people test positive, there's going to be all types of weird regulations, rules, and practices and processes that we haven't had before. But as long as everybody's healthy first and foremost and safe, and we can get everybody back onto the fields and practicing and get this football thing back rolling, I'm super excited, man. I can't wait. But that's the end of this video. Please make sure you like the video if you learned anything. If you liked it, please subscribe for more content. Gonna constantly update y'all on coronavirus, COVID-19 information as far as the NFL goes, especially. About to start coming out with some film sessions for our Redskins rookies, of course, and some of the undrafted free agents. Working on this Air Coryell offense video tirelessly, so I'm about to get that out to y'all also. Make sure y'all tune in for my weekly Sunday live streams at 2 p.m. My weekly Friday podcast is gonna be live. It's gonna be me and my boy just talking everything football, music, anything, anime, pop culture, all of that. The weekly Sunday live stream is more football, especially Redskins centered, but I read every comment on my weekly Sunday live stream, so you can ask anything, I'm gonna answer it. But then my Friday night at 8 p.m. live streams / podcast is gonna be more so me and my boy talking about everything, and then like the last 30 minutes, maybe an hour, we're gonna actually go to the comments and see what y'all want to talk about and answer those questions. But for at least the first hour, we're gonna already have our topics that we're gonna discuss, so I'm not gonna be as deep in the comment section like I normally am. I'm sorry. I'll be able to read super chats if you donate, and then your message is all colorful. I'll immediately get to that. But as far as like regular comments, I won't be able to read literally every comment that comes in like I do my weekly Sunday live stream. That's what the Sunday live stream is for. And then also definitely check out me and my boy Ed Oliver are gonna be live streaming at 7 p.m. tonight, as in Tuesday, May 26th on his channel. So definitely make sure y'all pull up for that. And I appreciate the support. I'll catch y'all later. Bed-Stuy looking Rico is out.